Kevin Kelly.
Sir Cash, you're bringing up great points, but during the week we've seen reports that the Chinese are worried about the uncertainty and how that they use actually the UK as really a way to access continental Europe, especially through the banking system. How does the UK plan on handling that situation now and working with these governments that were nervous about a Brexit situation?
Well, I think a lot of it, if I may say so, was done by, let's call it an understanding between David Cameron and George Osborne and these other big trade blocs and trade associations. There was an air of collusion, which was, you know, we want to frighten the British people, so let's get the OECD and various other people to say how terrible it is, and the IMF and Madame Lagarde and so on and so forth. The fact is, it isn't Armageddon. It's actually quite the opposite. It's a new vision. It's a new horizon. And that is based on democracy. And the Americans, above all else, my father was killed in Normandy fighting with Americans in Normandy, Hill 112. And I can tell you that we love America, but we also know that we can work out relationships not only with America, but also with other countries. And we will continue to do so, providing we are free. And we're not free under the shackles of the European Union, which is essentially doesn't work, massive unemployment, youth unemployment of up to 60% in many places, and actually is having protests and riots the whole time, and the euro is in crisis. Right. And the European economy is actually contracting and going down.
To that point, I think that the American people, given our political situation right now, firmly understand what was going on in Britain, certainly better than some of the elites in Britain and some of the celebrities who are in favor of staying in the European Union, and even some investors and bettors here and there and everywhere, in terms of they don't like being told how to feel.
You're absolutely right, Jagan.
You really got it. You see, you've got this problem, as I understand it, of increasing the use of executive orders. This is how the European Union functions. It happens by passing regulations and so on behind closed doors. We have a proper open democratic system where all our speeches and votes are on the record. Can you imagine the idea in the United States Congress of people knowing that this is what's going on in the European Union, that we don't have the kind of openness that we do when we're passing legislation in the House of Commons itself?
You know, I totally understand, and you make a lot of really important and good points on a practical level. But what about the domino effect, Bill? I mean, do you think that we are going to see other countries say we want out? Let's take, for example, Scotland, where we know that they would like to remain in the EU. Yes. Do you see Scotland wanting a referendum to perhaps get out of the UK? And we should point out that Donald Trump is in Scotland this morning. He's going to be giving a press conference, and we will take it live. Interesting to see him there today.
Well, he will have picked up by now that actually Nicola Sturgeon has just made a speech, as you were speaking, as a matter of fact, just this last 5 minutes, on the question of what they're intending to do. And I think she's moving towards a referendum because they want to stay in the European Union. But, of course, under the legislative arrangements, they can't have one without the consent of the House of Commons. So that's a separate issue. By the way, you might be interested to know that I've just, and this isn't meant to be just a plug, I'm giving my proceeds to Help for Heroes for war military veterans. But I've written a book called From Brussels with Love, and it went to the top of Amazon in the space of 1 day.
Wow.
It's all about this European issue. And all I can say, I'm giving the proceeds to Help for Heroes, so I'm not just sort of using your channel to plug a book for the sake of making money.
I understand. Well, it's very great to hear that you're giving the proceeds to Help the Heroes. And From Brussels with Love, the name of the book, the fact that it's gotten so popular so quickly tells you really where the sentiment is. Sir Bill Cash, thank you very much for your insights this morning